Well, good morning, everybody. This is Bryan C. Dunn, your Lazy Life Coach, and I am glad you are here with us with Coaching in Life's COVID-19 forum, coping with the coronavirus. And we are so lucky to have such a variety of coaches with us with different strengths and skills. I want to start by introducing them. The first is Barrett Lodefogen. Barrett, you want to say good morning real quick and maybe give a brief rundown of who you are?
Good morning, everyone, and it's fantastic to see everybody here today. I think that worldwide, everyone is represented here, and I think that in stressful times like this, it's amazing that we can come together and share experiences, how to cope with the stress, because we're all under pressure. So just thankful and grateful to be here, and so good to meet everyone.
Fantastic. I'll tell you what, I've been very privileged to be able to work with Barrett over the past year or so, and she's just been a great source of inspiration. And our next participant is Divya Parekh. Divya, would you like to come on and share a little bit about yourself?
Absolutely. Thank you, Bryan, for hosting us, and thank you, everyone, because these are tough times. That's one of the facts, and the second fact is that we are having to navigate through these tough times, whether it be economic tough times or corona tough times. So who am I? I go by and say that, what is my essence? I love nature, and I always say that I strive to be like ocean, which is where the beginning of Earth happened and where it nurtures ecosystems and relationships. So by profession, I am a business growth strategist, a best-selling author multiple times over, speaker, and a champion for those who are hungry to go to next level regardless where we are at, even in these tough times, and champion for those who are going to be ready for the time when this is over. So thank you.
Fantastic, Divya. Thank you very much. And, just like Divya had said, she's like the ocean. We are all here at Cal like the tide, and I think Hillary would agree with this. And that is, we all like to raise all ships up evenly and equally. And so let's, how about Sheila? Sheila, how about if you share a little bit about yourself? Sheila is another coach with Cal.
Hi, my name is Sheila, and where I am in my life, my journey is always to find the solution to any challenge. Always trying to put myself in a position to shift, to take that step, to move forward, because one thing that I have learned in life is that it's constantly changing, and those changes that occur may not be changes that we like, because so that's why I always pride myself on just being that steady person and having that strong, solid foundation. And that's what I help others to do. Just do your own self-will, your own self-thinking, and be able to just push forward no matter what happens.
Absolutely. Sheila, I've gotten to know Sheila over this past year, and I tell you, she is a constant source of inspiration for me. Her fortitude and her self-determination have just been remarkable. And so joining us today is a very dear friend of mine who I learned havening therapies with about 1.5 years ago. And this woman is one of my favorite people in the world. And so Hillary Russo, will you share with us a little bit about yourself?
I was hoping you were talking about me before I assumed it was me. Hi, everyone. My name is Hillary Russo. I am a certified havening techniques practitioner, but I'm also a certified integrative nutrition health coach and health and wellness journalist. And for me, my whole thing that makes me tick is that I want to help people become defensive thrivers. And when I say defensive thrivers, what I mean is, because I love play on words, is that we learn how to drive a car, we take a defensive driving course, we learn how to protect our vehicle and take care of it. We can't control the surroundings, but we can control the vehicle we're in and how we're driving it and the wheel that we're using to drive it. So I created the defensive thriving course, and my Thrive Hive is compiled of people who are looking to take care of themselves inside and out. And by doing that, I use havening as my modality. I work with people to help them through any difficulties that they might be feeling, as far as if they're having to change their diets or just their mindset, because it all comes back to what your thoughts are. And the whole idea is that we want to thrive in life. So I have, as a health and wellness journalist, I host a number of shows for CVS Health and Aetna, a monthly show where I travel the country and we talk to different communities that are doing something to bring health and wellness to their community. And also I have my own Instagram, Kitchen Cabinet Confidential, which is finding things in your kitchen that you might not even realize have medicinal properties to it and can be healthy for your body without even knowing that it was in your pantry in the first place. So it's all about thriving, and whatever I can do to share my gift with others is why I'm here to serve. Thank you for the opportunity.
Thank you, Hillary. That was well put. And for each one of our coaches on here today, you can reach them in the forums. There's a section where I've got the connections, or just head through Cal to talk to Divya, Barrett, Sheila, or myself. And I think from all of us to you, just right off the bat, those of you here and those of you who will be watching this in the future, thank you for being here. The purpose of this roundtable was really kind of started by Divya and myself, and it just went from a talk about how people were coping and what was successful, and that while we've seen a lot in the medical field from the doctors out there to be able to tell you what to do, what not to do, wash your hands, wash your feet, wash your ears, all those things, there wasn't a lot out there for coping. And considering that's what a lot of us do as coaches, is we help people find themselves and cope with these dynamics. I thought this would be a nice ample opportunity for us to share with you some of our different techniques, and whether it be from transitioning from working in an office to working at home, to what you eat, what you're putting in your body that's going to boost your immune system and also help keep you calm, to just having the right mental attitude, creating new habits. We're your resource right here to help you with that. And so I encourage you to hit Coaching in Life and take a look at what we have available and join us, become part of our thriving community. But without further ado, I think probably one of the most in the media the most right now is people transitioning from working in an office to working at home. And I'm gonna give the camera to Divya right now. Divya, this is her area of expertise. So Divya, I'd like to share a little bit about how people can make those transitions smoothly and easily, and what sort of strategies you have for remaining centered and coping with these difficult times.
So that is a great question, folks. And, everybody here has talked about the mindset. So one of the things I want to bring to you is no entry mindset. And when I talk about having no entry mindset, is just saying no to excuses. And it's an acronym, folks. No to saying negativity, negative news, negative people. And then we are talking about T. So no to people who may bring you to tears, because there are going to be people, what happens is that all there is that they're going to pull you down. So nobody saying no to people who tear you down or who they may bring you to the tears. The next is R. R is like, rah, rah, rah. No to people who are just kind of getting out here in internet marketing and it's all about them. Mm-hmm. It's about right now, especially today in these times, any internet marketer who's giving you the next big shiny thing that, oh, you know what, I'm going to make you money in these 10 days. I'm going to position you like this and give you the capabilities and gains like this. Please stay away from it. So that's the rah, rah, rah piece. And no to yes. And now you may be like, okay, what is this yes? Stop saying yes to things that take away you from your goals, because you are you. So the first thing is, of course, a lot of people will be talking about health. I'm not going to go into that. I'm going to go and dip into focus. So now what has happened is, all of a sudden, you may have been working outside, and I myself included, I used to go hang out with people for networking, meeting people outside, meeting my clients outside, and all of a sudden now we are at home. So first of all is no entry mindset. This is my area, this is my circle, and I'm not going to allow these things. The second step is finding a spot for you. It's so crucial in your house that becomes your spot. And if you have more people, just figure it out, folks. Think about it. What better time to build relationships with your family? Find a spot that's your spot. Put your, if necessary, get Ethernet cables. So simple. You get the Ethernet cable. Yes, we are sharing the internet. My Zoom keeps on breaking down, and I'll tell you, people are going to understand. So the key is find a spot, and that becomes your office. And keep your routine, especially if you were getting up. Get up in the morning, if you were taking a shower, doing your meditation, gratitude journal, whatever exercise. So for example, I'm just going to give you a quick insight in my day. I get up, do my meditation, and I have friends. She drives down to my house. Sometimes I down to her house. We walk on the street 6 feet apart. You can still maintain physical distance and yet be together, folks. So we go, we do, finish our exercise. Make sure that you have exercise part as a routine. So critical. Consistency, consistency, consistency. The brain, I'm coming from a neuroscience background. I'm going to tell you that routine and consistency will help. And any minute that fear pops up, here it is, my journal. It says think. So here's the thing, folks. The thoughts come, stop thinking. Look at this, I'm filling it up. You feel that fear, jot it down. And what happens to the brain? And that's again part of the T of entry. No thoughts that are going to distract you. Write it down, label it, it's gone. The brain is like, okay, you know what?
Divya.
It's not chunking in my head, it's done.
Hey, Divya, before we move on further, I'd like to know, what you're saying is not only a good suggestion for business, but all these sound like really good suggestions for the office as well. Did we lose Divya? Oh, I think we lost Divya. I don't know what happened there, but okay, well, so you know what Divya was saying about, losing her Zoom meetings and how people are very forgiving. And that's one thing I think you want to understand now is that during this time, if I can just expand on that, is that people are forgiving. People understand right now. There you are, Divya. I was just kind of branching off and asking you about how these are not just good business practices, but these are good kind of just everyday personal practices, aren't they?
They are. And just I wanted to add one very cute thing is having your schedule, folks. And I would highly recommend that you print out the schedule. And if you don't want to print out, whatever you have, write it down. So that way, the day before. So for example, today is Wednesday. On Wednesday night, write down what is your next day's schedule. Create a routine for yourself. And that includes having the quality time, building relationships time. So operate from home and dress up as if you are going to work. It really helps you get in the mode. And you can have pajamas at the bottom. So here, folks, here's what I'm going to share. There.
Perfect.
I'm in my sweats. So go for it.
Perfect. Divya, those suggestions were very good. And I think a lot of times people are fearful of transitioning from the office to home because of these glitches, because of these issues. But I must say, those are some pretty spicy pajamas you got there, Divya. And I want to thank you for sharing them. Divya, you were just talking about creating that habit, creating that routine, which is actually one of the things that I wanted to kind of harp on. Routine is really going to help dealing with the anxiety and the trauma that comes along with this. But the person that I want to talk about building healthy habits is Barrett. And so Barrett, let's take a few minutes and let's share what building healthy habits means to you and how people can capitalize on that.
Thank you for asking, and thank you. I think that Divya actually did it very well. And I mean, I've been stress coaching, especially business people over the years. And I think that one of the most important things for each one of us is the small, tiny, bitty decisions that we make. Those are the ones that keeps things together. It is not the large decisions that we make in life that's going to change it. It's the little things every day. And it's the chain that we build that's a solid chain. It's the way that we maintain ourselves. It's not that we work out maybe once a week or once a month, and then we work out for 8 hours or 12 hours, or we give it all that we have. It's the little things that we do for ourselves every day that makes us smile, that makes us grow, that makes us be trustworthy, that makes us in the situation where we are today. How can we have forgotten to just one simple little thing? Wash our hands, keep ourselves, maintain ourselves. And I say to my son every single day, you must take good care of yourself. That's the only job you have on this entire world, is to maintain yourself. How you present yourself, the struggle you choose to take, how you want to do, who you want to become. Work for good companies, find good leaders, trust good people, find out what it is that works for you. And what is so good about what Divya just said is the tears. I think that's extremely powerful, because building habits is about how also we find good things in ourselves. The ability to take ourselves over Mount Everest, because we're all facing Mount Everest. We're all on the journey of discovering our own capability. We're all on the journey of finding people we want to connect with. Bryan, Divya, Sheila, we've been working, Troy, you and I, we've had fantastic interview as well. And I mean, this is what life is about, the experience that we create and the good memories. All the failures, the people that told us off, that didn't hold our hands, we forget them. They become flushed out in the sand and disappear. But everyone who reached out to us and hold our hand in a moment in time and found in ourselves things we couldn't see, those are the people that we admire forever. And coming back to coaching in life, that's what coaching in life is about. How we can hold each other's hands, because it doesn't matter age, where we are, in what position, we still face challenges we can't overcome by ourselves, which is incredible, fantastic in this world. That's why we need each other, so we don't have to be alone. Nobody needs to be alone. And this is my time up, and I want to hear from everyone else.
You know, what you were saying, Barrett, is very profound. And, you know, reaching out and being able to build that network, that is a very important thing to do right now, especially when we're contending with the isolation, the self-isolation. And for some of us, we don't have family around to be able to interact with as easily. So using social media, this is one aspect of social media that is very beneficial. Use your telephone, reach out to people, reach out to friends, build that network around you. You know, even if it's only 1 or 2 people, make sure you have that outside connection, but also be understanding that they're contending with their issues as well. So again, like the tide, we want to bring all ships up. We want to support each other. And that was fantastic. You know, Barrett, something that you didn't mention that we actually have in Cal is a habit tool. And so I'm going to ask you to come on a little bit towards the end of this and talk about our habit tool, which will help you do self-care, a daily reminder to care for yourself, even if it's just wash your hands, wash your feet, whatever. If you're, you know, monkey, use your feet a lot. Hillary, I'm not pointing anything out, but I'm just saying.
Can I say something and add to that?
Unmute, Hillary.
Everyone?
Yeah, Barrett, please.
Well, I just wanted to say was that, especially when you're building habits, one of the biggest challenges that I think that we face, every one of us, is that we actually don't know what bad habits that we have that is preventing us from overcoming and becoming who we want. And that's the strongest point in the habit tool, that when we use it, we actually see what it is that makes us toxic and fearful. So we have an opportunity in that moment in time to switch that to become a positive new habit.
Absolutely. And you know, it's that reflection, and I call them autopsying our behaviors, that it really helps us move forward and contend with the circumstances around us. But when we talk about healthy habits and taking care of yourself, I think that actually leads comfortably into Hillary and what you're going to be talking about today with proper nutrition frequently. And Hillary, you can back me up on this. When we find ourselves in these circumstances, we begin to eat poorly, we get to make poor choices, we've got a ton of junk food. I don't have any more Pringles in my house. I got rid of them all in an effective manner. And so, Hillary, why don't you share with me a little bit about, you should be able to unmute yourself, and let's talk about proper nutrition and eating to help bolster that immune system as well, because every little thing we can do, we need to do. Take it away.
Thank you. So I think this is probably one of the biggest questions I've been asked as an integrative nutrition holistic health coach, is how to stop the carbageddon. That's what I've been calling it. You know, we've been carb loading like crazy, and that's a norm anyway. You know, I'm not a nutritionist or a dietitian. I'm a certified health coach, but I've dealt with over 125 different dietary theories, so I get it. And one thing that I think has been coming to the surface a lot is, why are we going to the sugar and the carbs and the Pringles and, you know, the cakes and the cookies? And a lot of that is because what that produces in the brain. It produces the serotonin. It's that happy chemical of the many happy chemicals that we actually see happen when we do havening, right? You know, the serotonin, oxytocin, and the dopamine. So the serotonin is created because we eat, we're happy, we have that high for a couple minutes, and then we tank, right? It's such a vicious cycle. So it's really getting a hold of being aware. And as you mentioned, the awareness factor is that's something we need to be very aware of, is like, why are we going to that place, you know? And that could be as simple as even something Divya mentioned before about the journaling. Look, Divya, just to mention, I actually keep a bullet journal, and I also have my regular journal. So these are things that you could do just to simplify things. So if you find yourself going to the pantry and you are ready to grab a cupcake, maybe two, maybe a couple more Pringles than are a norm, write down your feeling in that moment. Why are you going to that place? Why are you feeling that desire to have that thing? When our relationship with food changes, so does how we deal with food. Okay, it's like with any relationship, with a human being, with an animal, with the environment. When our relationship changes, that's where we see the change in general. So that's something that you can deal with as far as like going towards those kind of foods that are not the best foods to be putting in our body, and how we want to transform into a more thriving body, or the defensive thriver, as I called it. What we want to do is encourage fueling our bodies with the foods that are going to help us succeed, to help us thrive. So the foods that are rich in the antioxidants, the anti-inflammatories, the foods that are immune boosting, and I can run down and give you a couple. I mean, obviously this is something I mentioned recently on a TV appearance that I had, where I was talking about immune boosting foods, and it was even before this whole epidemic actually came to the States, really. But the whole idea is that we want to eat foods that are truly rich in antioxidants and anti-inflammatories. Those are not going to be found in Pringles. Those are not going to be found in the cakes and the cookies. You can have them every once in a while. I'm like that. What's that?
Your words heard, Hillary.
You have to be able to treat yourself, but you also have to be listening to your body. And our bodies tell us exactly what works for us and what doesn't.
What are some good foods?
Sure, I'm about to share that. So I would say you want to be plentiful with your fruits and vegetables. Broccolis and spinach actually are the king of greens. They are rich in immune boosting, rich in antioxidants. You also, red peppers, a lot of people think only vitamin C comes from citrus. Believe it or not, red peppers are rich in vitamin C. So you're boosting in that way as well. Avocados stand on their own. If you're an avocado lover, and I would think a number of you being out in California, that's probably something you gravitate to. I definitely do. Avocados are anti-inflammatory, they're antioxidant, they're packed with potassium. It's not just the bananas. They're also great in smoothies if you don't want a banana that has more of the sugar in it. And berries, speaking of sugar, toxicity is like number one when we're talking about sugar. Sugars are toxic for the body. We're seeing an increase in the amount of cancer cells that are permeating. We're seeing it really getting in the way of the body living healthy. But there are natural ways to put sugars in your body. And that's in like the really good berries, you know, the blueberries, the strawberries, the raspberries, goji berries, elderberries even. But I would be very mindful with your fruits and veggies. What I like to preface also is that there are foods that are being grown with pesticides. And there is a website, the ewg.org, which is basically focusing on the clean 15 and the dirty dozen. And by that, I mean the dirty dozen are the foods you always want to buy or purchase or grow you're going to see those foods have the most amount of pesticides when you're purchasing them. So go organic. Then there's the clean 15, which are the foods that tend to be less likely using pesticides and have more resiliency. ewg.org is the website, and you can find the clean 15 and the dirty dozen on there. I use it. They come out every year with new ways, and that's the Environmental World Group, by the way. That's what that stands for. So if you are a meat eater, I'm not, but I do not, you know, we call it bio-individuality, meaning that every person is different. So I'm not a meat eater, but that doesn't mean somebody who is a meat eater is wrong. It just means that we gravitate to different foods, right? So if you eat meats, always great to have the fish that are rich in the omega-3s, those good fatty acids. Those are your salmons, your sardines, your anchovies. And you want to stay with other kinds of meats that are going to be lacking, you know, not injected with hormones and antibiotics. Stay organic. So if you do like other meats, chicken and poultry and turkey are always going to be the best options over the red meats. I would also tell you that there are so many spices that you can use. I don't think a lot of people realize what's in their cabinets. And I've shared this so much on Kitchen Cabinet Confidential. The amount of nutrients and good that comes in the spices that you're using. Obviously fresh is the best, but when you use the spices like the turmeric, when you are using cinnamon, I have cinnamon and turmeric in my coffee because of the anti-inflammatory properties and the good that it does, and it tastes great. And the thing about turmeric, one thing I do like to mention, a lot of people don't know this, turmeric is always much more powerful when you use it with pepper. It tends to get into your system deeper than just putting turmeric on your food. So if you're going to use turmeric with pepper when you're cooking makes it a much more superpower food.
Now, are you talking like black peppers or red pepper?
No, I'm talking about like ground pepper. Yeah, so if you're making chicken and you're putting a little turmeric on it, make sure you have some pepper with it too. I'll sometimes even put it in my smoothie, believe it or not, but I put turmeric in everything. I'll do ginger, turmeric, cinnamon. These are all really good ways to boost the immune system. And there's just an abundance of it. Or oregano is great. There are numerous spices, also nuts. The best nuts right now that I could think of that I've been using are walnuts and almonds. They are great when they're roasted or dry, not the ones that you find with the salt on them and just have the palm oil. You want the goods. Go with the goods. We have a phrase that we use in the health coaching industry, especially the integrative nutrition health coaches like myself, that if it was made by people in white coats, you're more likely going to see people in white coats. Something to just keep in mind. Now, if you love wine is great, but I would stick with the reds. Reds have more antioxidants than the polyphenols. And They're great for brain and heart function as well. I mean, there is, if you've heard of the blue zones, I don't know if you've heard of the blue zones, but Dan Buettner, who was a National Geographic journalist for years, spent years exploring the world and found that there were different cultures that were actually thriving and living long into their 100s. There's the centenarians out there that are thriving into their 100s because of the 9 principles of the blue zones, which include community, which include eating whole foods, which include thriving within your community, helping each other out, red wine, dark chocolate, the living off the land, basically. And there's actually one in California, believe it or not, and I think it's the 7-day Adventists that live in the northern part of the state. But a lot of these areas are around the world, and the whole point is to try to get us to live more like the blue zones. And I will leave you with one item that I will not ever take off my list, and thankfully it is on the list: dark chocolate. Dark chocolate is rich in antioxidants, and I'm not talking about the candy store brands. I won't mention brands, I won't say negative things, but go for the real dark chocolates that are over 70%. If you need something sweet, the 70% and above, you're getting the cacao. I stay away from the ones that have sugar in them. If I use it, they're gonna have the sugars that are like the coconut sugar or even stevia. And alternates to sugar are gonna be the monk fruits or fruit sugars. But that's really where you want to go, and stay away from the cold cuts, processed foods, sugars, sodas, refined anything. That's my best advice and what I share with my clients and what I usually focus on when I do my kitchen cabinet confidentials.
That is fantastic. Thank you, Hillary. What a bang for our buck here. And we are very fortunate to have you join us, Hillary. And so check that out, the blue zones. That's really fascinating.
Yeah.
And I think when we look at the blue zones, that's actually that's really a nice holistic approach to kind of getting through this as well.
Mm-hmm.
Interacting, having community, eating healthy, getting proper rest, nutrition, exercise, all of those things. Brilliant. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. And in order to do, and believe me, eating healthy is it's a struggle. It's a struggle. But what I found over the past probably 8 months, I've dropped about 30-something pounds. And the biggest thing for me was just starting to be aware of when my body was satisfied. It's very easy to grab that tube of Pringles, but the moment I'm aware that they don't taste as good, I stop eating. When you're eating your meal and it just stops tasting amazing, stop eating. Your body knows. And I think you might concur with that. But frequently we're like, oh, I got to finish this plate. I was raised to finish this plate. So thank you, Hillary. That's amazing. Barrett, was there something you wanted to share?
I wanted to share that, especially with the dark chocolate, because I think that I come out of a nutrition family. My mother has worked 45, 50 years with nutrition. My father made cancer, natural medicine and vitamins and so forth. But what I wanted to share was, and he started working, for instance, with stevia for 40 years ago. One of the things that I went to a seminar in Denmark and heard the Cancer Association say that it's actually not the doctors that is in lack of competence, especially with cancer. It is the condition of the body that comes in that's too weak. Mm-hmm. And I think that that's one of the reasons why we're seeing the epidemic right now, is that our nutrition may be too vague. But what I wanted to share with you about the chocolate is, especially, I have learned that since forever in my family. I'm teaching my son as well. Dark chocolate takes away the wish for sweetness. So once you start eating chocolate, that's also one of the minerals that you're missing in your body, and that substitutes ability dark chocolate has. So if you are eating sweet, and you then make the choice that when I eat sweet, I eat dark chocolate, you will see a transition, and you will no longer eat the sweets.
That's pretty fascinating.
Very true. I had such a sweet tooth, and when I turned from dark chocolate, I started at like 50%, and now I'm at, I can do 90 to 100% and I'm good. It's almost like eating baker's chocolate. The amount of sweetness is not, it's not really the sweet. I mean, it is the cacao, the true cacao, And it also is that goes along with the blue zone rule of the 80% rule, knowing when you're 80% full. You don't need to have a whole bar of chocolate. You can have like a little, they put it in little squares for a reason, that's a serving. So that's a great point, Barrett. And it's great that you have that knowledge that it comes from just your own growth and learning from your own family before it's become like a thing. Dark chocolate's kind of become a thing now, like it's trending, but it's really not a trend. It's
what I found
it used to be.
Also is that your sense of smell, your olfactory and gustatory are so tied in that frequently, if you just smell what it is you want, it will frequently satisfy that need. So you don't have to have that big piece of cheesecake. You can just take a nice smell of that cheesecake. My wife cut out all sugar, and so she's like, "You smell that?" I'm like, "Okay, you're creepy."
The other thing is your gut knows. Your gut is the kingdom, and if the kingdom's not happy, it's going to fall. So, and that goes for like when we say, "Oh, trust your gut, trust your gut." It's not just your digestive system; it also is this gut. And a lot of times when we go against our intuition, our gut, it's telling us right there. It's the thermometer that we should be following. So do you want to be the thermometer? Do you want to listen to the thermometer? Or do you want to listen to, it's really listening to ourselves more. When you're full,
Absolutely. Well, you know what? All of these things, and thank you, Hillary, and thank you, Barrett. All of these things really require effort. And my expert on effort is going to speak next, and that's Sheila, having the right mindset and the right attitude to implement these things. Making these changes, guys, it's not easy. I mean, that's just a fact. But life is difficult. So once you accept that it's difficult, then life becomes easy. I've been a diabetic for over 40 years. I know you can't tell because I look so young. But so I've had to take shots for over 40 years, blood tests back in the day. And every day I get up, I have to take an injection. I can grouse about it, I can bitch about it, I can be angry, but the fact is I still have to take that injection. We need to survive this together. We need to do this together. We need to eat better if we're going to get through this. We need to implement all of these different strategies, and it does take effort, and it is going to suck at first. But what you're going to find is that as we implement this little by little, it starts to become our new reality, and you're actually going to feel a lot better. So with that, Sheila, how would you like to share with us about having the right mental attitude? Let's unmute you there. There we go.
Well, one of the things that I have found with having the right mindset is you got to have a solid foundation, because it's that foundation that's going to help drive that mindset. And then it's that mindset that's going to drive you to meet the needs in your life every day. And that's how you get the results that you want in your life.
Absolutely.
So if you look at where you are right now in your life and you're not happy with it, but you got to get that foundation, because think about when you're building a house and building that concrete. And when that crack get into that concrete, it throws that whole foundation off. If you don't fix that crack, everything is going to be out whack. And it's the same thing with our bodies. See, one of the ways with the foundation, you got to examine. You got to do a self-examination. You have to look at what it is that you want and why you want it. And when you're looking at why you want it, you got to look at the hell side of it and the heaven side of it. And then you got to determine what is preventing you from having what you want. Because most of the time, what is preventing you from having what you want is those needs that you are not meeting, which is all of us as human beings. We're going to have to meet certain basic needs. And if we're not meeting those needs and meet them at a high enough level, that's where the issues come in at. And so after you examine yourself, then guess what? You got to learn how to deal with those emotions that you have. Lots of the times, most of the people have a lot of massive emotions. That's bad emotions. So you got to come up with ways to how we can turn those bad emotions into good emotions. And the way you can help with do that, so we got to learn how to control ourselves. And then once we learn how to control ourselves, once you find out what is working for you, See, things have a habit of sneaking back up on you, then you got to find an empowering alternative to keep you from diverting back to those old habits. But that alternative has to be so strong and so powerful that it gives you more than what you currently have. And see, then you can look at how you impact yourself, and then look at how you impact others and how you are impacted by others. See, once you have that foundation built, see, now it can help control your mindset. Now, but what is your mindset? Your mindset is the language, because this is how you communicate with other people. It's how you see, how you speak. Because think about the word that you use the most. Just because you have an emotion with that word, because you use it the most. And you got to look at what is it doing for you. Guess what? Then you got to have the way that you hear and speak. Because if you produce an emotion, you're going to react. It's going to shape how you feel. And it's going to determine what you will and what you won't do. And this is how your passion flows. And then you have your physiology, which is your body. Think about somebody who was timid and shy, and they always hold their head down every time they speak. And all you got to do is raise your head up, pull your shoulders back. They help you to have confidence to say what it is you need to say with your head up. And then it's about what we put into our bodies, what you just got to be talking about. Say, for instance, you know you are allergic to something, and you continue to take that. It's going to have a havoc on your body. Then there's your focus and your beliefs. That all ties into your mindset. So your focus is going to be the thing that you're going to spend most of your energy and time on. And your beliefs is what you deem to be true according to you. And it's going to affect who you are, what you will attempt in life, the way you treat people, determine how you feel, your perspective of the world. It's going to focus on the things that you focus on the most, which is important to you. And see, this is your whole mindset. And see, now once you get this mindset, guess what? This is how you're going to meet your needs. This is how you're going to have certainty in your life. How are you getting a certainty in your life? With the proper food, housing, all that kind of stuff. Do you have any love and a connection? How do you feel significant? And do you have enough variety in your life? And if you have 2 or more of those lacking, 9 out of 10, that is what is preventing you from having what you want in life. See, now is the best time for us to be working on ourselves because we're at home. And see, a lot of times when things go wrong, you're going to have a pretty much kind of a hard time making the right decisions because you haven't built that foundation. Not saying that you can't build it in that time, but it'll take a little long because you're not going to be as apt to hear what it is that you need to hear and do what it is that you need to do because you're going through. That's why it's always best to try to work on yourself when things are going good, because we are always to be working on ourselves whether the things are going good or bad. See, when things come along and it's bad, you'll be more apt to make that shift when you don't feel like it or it's horrible. But this is what's necessary for you to take that next step and continue to move forward. See, that you have to learn you got to know your identity. You got to know your identity. You got to know who you are.
Sheila, if I can interject, what you're saying is very profound. And you said something about people's beliefs. And if I can, and maybe you can correct me if I'm wrong, is your beliefs are the system that you adhere to, that you follow. And a lot of the problems that, if I'm understanding correctly, is when people espouse they have a set of beliefs, but they don't adhere to it. They don't follow through with that. So you may be, as Hillary, a non-meat eater, or you may be, as me, a somewhat meat eater. I'm an omnivore, I admit it. And as long as we're not at odds with ourselves, we're going to find ourselves be more centered and be able to tackle these things. Also, I think what you said about kind of reflection and taking a look at what's working in my life, what is not working in my life. And, am I kind of hitting the right spot there?
Yes. And determining why.
Yeah, then why?
One thing I didn't mention is about when you have that limiting belief. Because some people, they have if you are doing something and it's not working for you, and it's your belief system. Say, for instance, I don't like chocolate, but I had never had chocolate. I had never tried chocolate. Because you done heard somebody else say, well, chocolate is not good for you. See, now you done created rules around this chocolate. You hadn't even never tried it. So you got to change those rules in order for you to change that belief. See, then you can change that belief, then you can change your outcome. And one of the ways that you can change your belief is, what I always say is, whatever your belief is, come up with 4 things to support that belief. And if you cannot come up with 4 things to support that belief, because you got a chair and it has 4 chairs, it got 4 legs. And if you got a chair and you only got 3 legs, it's not going to be stable. So that's why I say come up with 4 things.
That is brilliant.
To support that belief. And if you can't come up with 4, then change that belief.
You know what? I really like that. I like that, Sheila. That's right. If you're going to say you believe in something, you should have some reasons why. And I used to teach middle school, and I can't tell you how many times, like, okay, so why do you believe that? I don't know. And then the ever-present because. That was very, very profound things you laid out there, Sheila, and I really appreciate that. I'm going to wrap things up here, kind of going over and maybe summarizing what we've all been talking about. And that is a lot of, being taking care of yourself during this time. There are a lot of little strategies that we can use to kind of help center us. I want you to be aware, first of all, is that you only have control over 2 specific areas in your life, in the entire cosmos, and those are your actions and reactions and your thoughts. And now is an ample time to really focus in on that. You can't control what the pandemic is doing. You can't control what other people are doing, but you can control how you handle it and how you react to it. And I seem to, the overwhelming consensus here is routine and habit. Those are big things. Having a routine every day, getting up, whether it be getting up and doing just your daily activities, your meditations, your exercises, whatever that is, your eating habits, and being kind to yourself. But probably the first and foremost thing we all need to do, and I think we can all do this together, is breathe. So often we stop breathing. And so I'm going to tell you, here's what I do with my clients, here's what I do with me. And it's become a habit that even on a TV show, if somebody says breathe, I do this automatically. And I tell myself, inhale relaxation, nice and deep, and exhale tension. And when I exhale, I make my shoulders drop. Now I get clients say, my shoulders won't drop. I'm like, you're the boss of your shoulders. Make your shoulders drop. That's right. Inhale relaxation and exhale tension. When you get into the habit of that, you're going to oxygenate your mind, oxygenate your body. You're going to start to relax. You're going to start to get more centered. During this time where we have to cloister ourselves and be away from others, minimize your responsibilities. Forgive yourself for not being out there. We carry this guilt with us that I can't go in, I can't service all the people I need to service. And I had a little crisis myself the second week. And I was like, I cannot meet the needs of my clients. And I just kind of crumbled one night. I told my wife, I said, I feel so ineffective. And it then, like Sheila recommends, and like I suggest to my clients, Dr. Heal Thyself, right? I just analyzed and realized that I needed to cut myself a little slack, and I want you to cut yourself some slack too. We're all in this together. People understand. It's like with the Zoom calls that Divya was talking about. People understand that there are going to be glitches. They understand that not everything's going to be done. And I'll tell you what the coolest thing has been is the sense of community that I've seen. It's been a real neat opportunity where people have been able to come together, not only online like this, but also getting things done. My family and friends, you have to go to the supermarket. Let's minimize that. What can I get for you? I need to get food to the seniors. They don't have somebody. Let me do that. I can volunteer to do that. Reaching out, helping other people. Also, step outside. You're going to be okay if you go into your backyard. You're going to be okay if you go into your front yard. If you get out, keep a good distance from people, minimum 6 feet. 6 feet is just, kind of what they recommend, but I prefer many, many more feet, frankly. But get out there, feel the sun on your face. We know the sun's going to give you some vitamin D. It's going to start help rejuvenate you. You're going to feel a lot better, and getting some of that fresh air. It's super important to get outside and exercise, even if it's just simple stretching, simple just kind of walking in place, step together, step. My mom does these crazy calisthenics in public. It's really creepy and uncomfortable, but she's always exercising, and it's helping her feel better. And so I think I should probably do a little more exercise. Do you think playing Xbox is a good exercise? I think so. My thumbs are super strong now. All right. And so one of the things that's going to help you also is avoid social media. This is very ironic to say it on a Zoom call, but I cannot tell you how much misinformation is out there. In fact, I just did a video on misinformation, and everybody is an expert. Everybody seems to know what's going on. The reality is whether this is a government conspiracy or whether this is the most logical of all, that it is a pandemic brought on like most other pandemics from unclean and unhealthy environments, that is not as relevant right now, because we have to deal with what is. I can't control that. I can't control that. What can I control? I can control what's in front of me, and those are my actions and my behaviors. I'm staying indoors. I'm no hero, but I want to make sure that I'm not spreading it, because I know that I can be a carrier and not know about it. There are other little things that I want you to be aware of. During this time, anxiety is real easy. Trauma is very easy. It comes on. Hillary and I both know that when there are certain criteria met during situations like this, that the brain changes physically to accommodate trauma. And when those cells change physically, they don't just change back. They're glued open to that trauma, to those feelings of fear and helplessness. And so Hillary and I both do havening techniques, which actually is an approach that can eradicate that trauma. But eating healthy, getting the exercise, having a positive outlook, taking the steps to transition from an office life to a home business. Also something, Divya, you said, keep a little space for yourself, but I want to tell you something else. Keep time for yourself as well. Let's face it, when we start to work in our homes, since I've been seeing clients online from home, I've been keeping the worst hours. I'm seeing people late at night, I'm seeing people early in the morning, and not just because I've got my friends in other countries, but I'm just like, okay, yeah, I'm home, why not, whatever. And then I'm just exhausted. And that's the last thing I want to recommend to you, is that when you're in need, when you're feeling like you're at the end of your rope, reach out, seek help. There are plenty of counselors out there. There are coaches at Coaching in Life. We offered kind of the, a myriad of services, and coaches. If you're not sure about your business, we've got Barrett, we've got Divya. If you want personal empowerment, we've got Sheila. If you want to deal with trauma, you can reach out to me. If you want to deal with, personal professional growth, within that framework and just feeling better, and nutritional and getting over trauma with Hillary as well, reach out to her. And in the end, I think Shakespeare kind of put it best in Macbeth when Polonius is talking to his son as he's heading off to live in the big city, and he gives this little list of things to do, but I think the most important was, to thine own self be true. To thine own self be true. Take care of yourself. You are important and you are worthy, no matter what anybody else thinks. Now's a good time to reflect. Now's a good time to make some different choices in your life. Now's kind of a timeout that we don't have control over. What do we have control of? What's going on right now? How I treat people. Can I learn something new? I mean, there's a lot of online courses. Take advantage of it. This is an opportunity for us to grow and come together as a community. And with that, we run just a couple minutes over. I want to thank everybody for being here. If you guys would like to say goodbye, please feel free to do so. Unmute yourselves. Barrett, any last words?
Actually, I think that one of the last words, thank you everyone for being here today. I think that this was incredible. And I think that I hope that Troy also will go on and say a little bit about New York, because I think that it's difficult times in New York, and I think that now is also a good time to share. And for everyone out there, if we can do anything, reach out. I mean, that's what we're here for. We're here to multi-engage and multi-reply, so that we can learn from each other's mistakes. We can improve and strengthen each other. That's what it's about.
Absolutely. Sheila, would you like to share?
Yes, just become a self-thinker. Know who you are. Discipline yourself and take responsibility. And look at the choices and the decisions that you make, because you are going to affect those that you love around you, whether you know it or not. So just be self-directed.
Super, super. And Divya?
Well, I want to say that, I'm going to share that in your choice lies your future. So think about, what is it that you want to become beyond this corona crisis? Who do you want to be for your family and for your friends? What better version do you want to become? And this is the time to hunker down, folks, and take care of yourself, your family, and gain those capabilities that will stand you not now, but they'll be long lasting, and building those collaborations and partnerships and relationships in this time. And take good care of yourself.
Absolutely. Well put. And Hillary?
Yeah. Continue to thrive, be a defensive thriver, do what you need to do to take care of you so that you're the best you to take care of yourself and others. That means you can control your mindset, you can control your sleep routine, you can control what you eat, you can control what you look at in social media, like you mentioned, your outlook, the way we treat others, and your productivity level. Use this as a learning time. Social distancing does not mean social disconnecting. And I have been emphasizing that every day, because like a tree in a forest, you don't stand alone. Below the soil, it's a million different things going on, and roots that are intertwining, and we're thriving from each other. So do what you can to be the best defensive thriver, and you will thrive beyond this epidemic and going forward with the tools that you bring into your life.
Brilliant, brilliant. Thank you. I can't tell you how much I value and appreciate every one of you for helping me bring this to life. It's important to me, and I can't even tell you, really. For those of you that have joined this or are catching this later on, head over to coachingandlife.com, and if you scroll down the front page, there'll be the spot for the coronavirus forum. I encourage you to join there, and you can share there. The nice thing about our forum is that it is all your information is protected. We don't keep information on you. We follow the GDPR guidelines, which are the European privacy guidelines. We don't sell your information, and we police what goes on there to make sure that misinformation, we're not authoritarian, but we want to make sure that people aren't causing trouble. We want this to be a safe place for all of us to ask and encourage. We have the habit tool. I'd like you to reach out to Barrett for. We've got Sheila has a book out. Divya has a lot of programs that are going to help you bridge that gap. Hillary, reach out to Hillary, and she'll be able to guide you with your eating habits and what you're doing. And also catch her on her Instagram shows and everywhere else she's doing something. She's just a gem to watch. And if you're having trouble with trauma and you want to kind of get centered and get things back together, please reach out and we can help you contend with that. Thank all of you for being here. Those of you that are watching, please head over to the forums. Until we meet again, everybody, inhale relaxation, exhale tension, and be well.